Hi, welcome to today's webinar, Tips on Selling Wellness Travel. I'm Paloma Villaverde Rico, and I'm the editor-in-chief of Recommend Magazine, and I'll be the moderator for this webinar, which has been made possible by Recommend and its partner, the Wellness Tourism Association, as well as the Naples Marco Island Everglades CVB. This webinar is a complement to the Wellness Travel Trends Survey that was conducted on recommend.com, as well as the Wellness Travel Trends Report, which starting today is available for download from the handout section of the webinar. During this conversation with our distinguished panelists, we'll speak about the trends in wellness travel, as well as how the wellness travel sector offers boundless opportunities for you to grow your business. Before that, though, a few housekeeping items. During the presentation, feel free to enter your questions in the question box. We'll gather them together and hold a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Don't worry, if you miss something, this webinar is being recorded and you will receive a link via email to access the recording at your leisure. For those who attend the entire presentation, one attendee will win a $100 gift card. All attendees will earn one CEU credit. As an accompaniment to this webinar, you can access the Wellness Travel Trends Report, which will be downloaded from the handout section of the webinar. A link will also be included in the follow-up email. So let's start this webinar by introducing the panelists. Ann Diamonds, President of Wellness Tourism Association. Kiran Dhaliwal, President of Concierge Vacations, Inc. Sophia Markovich, owner of Sophia Travels, LLC. And Dory Cameron, co-owner of Journeys That Fit. So let's jump right into it. The first question goes to you, Anne. How do you define today's wellness vacation?
Thank you, Paloma. It was in early 2018 that the Wellness Tourism Association launched the first glossary of industry definitions. And we said that a wellness vacation is wellness travel powered by intention. It's mostly a self-directed vacation where the person taking the vacation sets his or her own timeline and schedule. And it can include a wellness retreat, which is defined as a multi-day program that is either hosted and more structured. So the wellness vacation is more self-guided, the wellness retreat is more structured.
And Kiran, did you have any points on the defining a wellness vacation?
Yes, what I'm seeing mainly is not so much requests for specific wellness retreats as much as I'm seeing requests for components within their standard vacation. So it's things like adding hiking, adding more active excursions as they're touring, but also ending the trip, definitely spa components in the trip, and then ending the trip either at a beach resort or somewhere where they allow downtime and, you know, everything that we know about wellness in terms of nature and getting in front of the ocean and by the ocean. So there's more components of that versus necessarily strict intention for a wellness resort. In addition, I think when it comes to meals, I know we've talked about wellness resorts providing the very healthy meals, and what I'm seeing more is requests for fresh farm to table cuisine rather than actual dietary restrictions in the meals.
And Sophia, Dory, anything to add? Or are you seeing the same things in your definition of wellness and what clients are requesting?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Sophia.
Go ahead, Dory.
I was just going to say I have almost all of my clients ask for some type of wellness option in their regular vacation, even when they're not quote unquote wellness travelers. So there's definitely a push towards being well while you're on vacation and not coming back feeling like you have to go on a diet or that you haven't exercised and all that time. So yeah, it's definitely a point that my clients try to make when they ask for different vacation options.
Sophia, you as well?
Yes, and I always like to share with my clients is that, and especially if we, I'm happen to be in Italy right now, but when my clients are going to Europe, I always like to share with them, hey, when you go to Europe, calories have no count, and I promise you, you can eat pasta and pizza and gelato as much as you want. You're going to come back and you haven't gained a pound. And they look at me shocked. And they say, what are you talking about? And I said, try it and you'll see. And they literally come back and they haven't gained a pound. And they're like, I don't understand. I said, yes, how much did you walk? Because you walk so much here in Europe and you don't usually do that at home in the States. So, and yes, wellness is just like Anne just spoke. It's, for every individual, it's different and unique. But we also even seeing this trend with the in the airline industry at airport lounges and just from a health standpoint and how they're providing the meals at the airport lounges and on flights. And we see great results with Delta Airlines and Singapore Airlines.
Well, that takes me.
If,
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
if I may follow up on that,
of course.
one of the things is that yes, people are more of us are living wellness lifestyles, and we want to take those lifestyles on the road, and we want components of wellness into our travels because we may be traveling for business or we may be traveling for pleasure, where wellness is not the main focus, but we still want to incorporate those elements of wellness into a trip. So that's happening, and more people are doing that than actually taking what they call a wellness vacation or a wellness retreat. So I'm not surprised to hear that your clients are coming in just asking for the components, and that's great. At least they're working some wellness components into their travels.
Yeah, so it just becomes the vacation is part of the lifestyle. It's not like, oh, these
Right.
2 weeks completely not doing
Yeah.
anything that I would normally do. Yes, they're taking their lifestyle into their vacation, which makes
Right.
sense. So that actually sends me to the next question, which what 3 trends, Anne, are you seeing in the wellness vacation segment? And of those, which is the most surprising, perhaps?
Well, we recently polled all our supplier members, and I think we came up with about 5 trends that we're seeing. But I'd say the top 3 are solo travel. And that really is no surprise because more of us are traveling solo. We had almost 50% of people saying they wanted to travel solo on a wellness vacation or solo to be with the like-minded.
Okay.
And the second one was from our members was they're seeing a lot more of first timers and newcomers. And that's because people are adding more wellness options to their lifestyles. They're adopting wellness lifestyles, so they want to incorporate more of those wellness aspects into their trips. And they actually want to take wellness retreats and wellness vacations. So it's not surprising that newcomers are coming on board. The other thing we saw, I'll just mention 2 more, was a fluctuation with the timing that people are staying. Some people are staying shorter, some people are staying longer. So it's all over the board. And the other one was they're coming with specific solutions in mind. So they want, and that's what goes back to the intention, they want to learn how to make more healthy decisions when it comes to food. They want general overall reboots. They want help with sleep. They want help with stress management. So those are the top 4 that we're seeing.
And Dory, are you seeing those trends aligning with your clients along those?
Yes, I think the idea that there's all different kinds of wellness options out there are causing these little trends. The solo traveler specifically, I've seen a real uptick in solo women wanting to travel with other solo women, and there's a lot more options for that kind of travel specifically in the wellness space. So I actually have a group of women called Wander Women that go on wellness vacations on a regular basis because they want to have people to travel with who are like-minded, to Anne's point, but also to have fun and do active kinds of things that they would not have felt comfortable doing, say, 3 or 4 years ago, because there just weren't that many options.
Now, are the women solo travelers? Do they tend to be older? What's the age demographic?
Well, from my perspective, it's 45 to 65.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we were wondering, we had a discussion about that the other day after we saw all these trends coming in for wellness, and we're like,
Mhm.
which women? And we figured it was around that age, but I thought it would be interesting just because it's a target client for other travel advisors, to go after.
Right, right.
Um, and I have another question for you, Dory, actually. How does today's wellness traveler differ from the one just 5 years ago in terms of their expectations when traveling?
Well, because there's more people interested in wellness traveler, right? Your population is larger, which of course means things are going to change a bit because you have more people in the pie, right? So that's the first thing I think that's important to know. And the things that I get the most often are I only want to go places that will cater to my diet. Will they be gluten free? Will they be vegan? Will they be vegetarian? Will they have chicken only? That kind of thing. I get that question constantly. And that is a lot different from 3 or 4 years ago, really. People are being very picky about that specifically. And then also, interestingly enough, they want to include their children. This is different too. It used to be that a wellness vacation or a spa break or something like that would be a way for the parents to get away or adults to get away from it all, or a woman to go to a spa and be zen for a week, that kind of thing. Now I get requests all the time from people saying, I want my children to be more active. I want them to learn how to live a well lifestyle, right? And the way I want to do that is through sharing time with them on a family vacation. Help me with wellness options for children.
That's so interesting. Yeah, that's great.
Mhm,
I get,
mhm.
what are they, like older, like teenagers, I imagine? Not super young, right?
Sometimes they're not toddlers, they're not, but
Yeah.
I just booked a family group trip with an 8, an 11, and a 13-year-old,
Oh, wow.
and they wanted wellness right down the line.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. That's great also for wellness
Yeah.
bookings in the future. And Kieran,
Yeah.
are you seeing a difference in terms of what the expectations are for people looking for a wellness? Does it concur a lot with what Dory was saying?
Yeah, it's Kieran,
Oh,
just
Kieran,
to
sorry.
clarify. Yes, no worries. And I would agree. And I think I'm seeing, I would see more in my client base is more of the teens and the older children, and the parents wanting to do active things because there are some restrictions when they're younger as to what they can do. I'm also seeing requests for mother-daughter trips. So, adult children more is what I'm seeing rather than the younger set.
Awesome. All right. So we conducted, according to our survey, we had nearly 50% of respondents said that their wellness clients are very likely to take a wellness-focused vacation in the next 6 months. Sophia, are you seeing high demand for wellness-focused vacations? I know you saw a lot. Is there a really high demand for that? And what's the booking window for those wellness vacations?
Absolutely. And again, it goes back to their bringing their lifestyle, their everyday lifestyle in with them on vacation. And so continuing that health and wellness um, um, during their vacation. So high demand, I think it's almost every vacation that I plan for my clients. There is some aspect, whether it's like Dory mentioned, what they want to eat. And looking back, maybe just 5 years back, um, you know, I mean, most suppliers would accommodate, cruise lines and river cruises and so on. But I think today we see it that we can, accommodate all of the above wherever we go. So whether it's the resorts, whether it's the cruise ships, the river cruise lines, and so on, even if you go just to a restaurant. So all of these options are available, vegetarian, whatever floats your boat is available to you, and just one destination. So the time frame I don't see is just everybody's, some clients like to book far in advance, and some clients like to book short term. So, but I would say that every vacation includes some sort of health and wellness.
Excellent. And Anne, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say just a couple of things that over the last 5 years, I believe the traveler, what we're seeing more in the person traveling for wellness, there was a time 5 years ago and before that when it was totally focused on the spa and the luxury experience. But we have so many more options now. And everybody's mentioned food. We did a survey. Food is the number one. Access to healthy options, healthy food options is the number one must have in a survey we did of 6,500 plus consumers. So everybody's seeing the same thing. They want healthy food options.
Yeah, that actually came up on one of the top reasons, one of the top things that our travel advisors said their clients in the survey that we conducted as well, that they want the healthy food options as one of the main things when they're going on a wellness vacation, which leads
And that
me to, oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was going to say it's absolutely true, because again, if it's your health, if that's your lifestyle at home, and now from the moment you arrive at the airport and you're going to a lounge, and you're being served carbs on top of carbs on top of carbs, and that's not what you usually eat, you just started off badly, and that doesn't make you feel good for the rest of your vacation, right? And then it just continues usually from there. So I totally agree with Anne. It has changed dramatically across the board with all products that offer vacation opportunities.
So that actually leads me, and I believe, Kieran, you wanted to respond to this. It says, according to our survey, this is what I alluded to, the top things wellness clients are seeking, at least in the survey that we had, was spa treatments, range of fitness activities, yoga and similar activities, as well as the healthy food options, and communing with nature was also a top request from clients to their travel advisor readers, the ones that we surveyed. So, Kieran, what are some of the things your clients are seeking when they go on a wellness vacation, and how do they differ perhaps from what our survey takers mentioned?
So I'm seeing very similar to what the survey's showing. For sure, all of my clients sign up for spa treatments when they're there, regardless of where they're going. That seems to be a big one, especially as if they're doing flights that are to Asia or to Europe, where they're long distances in a plane. They like to come back and start their vacation with a massage. So sometimes I even gift them like a jet lag massage or something similar to get them started and ready for their trip. So that certainly is one of them. As I mentioned, active. They definitely want to add active components to their vacations. And that could be, hiking, walking, lots of walking tours. There's definitely an interest. So you're combining the cultural aspect of it, but then instead of being on a bus, you're actually walking and getting the healthy elements of, fresh air and exercise. So I think many of those, nature for certain, because I just had clients come back from Japan, and then although they did Tokyo, they definitely wanted to go to Kyoto. They wanted to go to the bamboo forests and really partake in that, and then end with a relaxing sort of staycation at a resort before they got back on the long flight. So very similar trends to what my clients are asking.
Yeah, so I just went to Korea about a month ago, and I went to Jeju Island, and I went to the healing forest on the island. And it's like a 3-hour hike through this, and they have lounge chairs for you to sit. There's a meditative guide that takes you through the healing forest. And it's just that you're communing with nature. You're just really detoxing, at least for those 3, from all the technical stuff that we have, for at least 3 hours, and just really communing with your surroundings. And the forests are just an amazing amazing space to do it in. So,
Nature is,
sorry.
Sorry, I was just going to add that it really comes back to the intention of the client and how much wellness, true wellness, other than just spa, they want to add to it. So, for example, if they are spiritually focused, I did have these clients that were in Japan want to go do this mountain hike in Mount Kurama and do a spiritual temple, but that involved actually hiking to get there and then adding spiritual elements when you're there. So I think it goes back to number one, asking what the client's intentions are and then proposing options that would help them sort of meet those intentions.
Yeah, that's great advice. And were you going to say something?
yeah, I just wanted to say that nature is such a big part of wellness now. It's sustainability of the planet. Having a wellness lifestyle incorporates wellness for the planet, and we take that on the road with us. Also, we're learning that nature is increasingly important in our own sense of well-being and our mental health. And most of us live in big cities right now, so when we go on vacation, it gives us the perfect opportunity to be immersed in nature, and that fits so nicely with being active in nature. So it all goes hand in hand.
Yeah, excellent point. Dory, you mentioned women. So are women the go-to client for you for a wellness vacation? Is that who's mostly coming to you? What about men? Are there any men on their own going on these solo wellness vacations?
Uh, well, not in my business. I'm sure there are some men, but yeah, no, the major pushes for women. They're very focused on wellness in general, wellness vacations, wellness food, all of those things. And it's however, they're always looking for options that they could possibly entice their man to come with them. Okay, so they want their men and the men in their life to participate, but the men currently are not seeking it. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
the women are definitely seeking, and then they'll say, and is there golf or mountain biking
Oh,
or
okay.
fishing or something, hiking, something that their guy would like inside of a wellness vacation. And I think that the trick is going to be for the next couple years really is to find out how to market wellness travel to men, because there's this huge untapped market. They just don't like, I just don't think they like the words we're using right now. They feel like it's too women oriented, right? And it's a women's vacation. But then they go and they have this great time. It's not really a woman's vacation, it's a wellness vacation, and we all need wellness. So from a perspective of who is contacting me, women, but they are definitely seeking things for their guys.
Interesting.
I
Yeah.
have to say, I mean, Dory, you're right. It is the leaders are the women in wellness vacations, but I think the men just not realizing that what they're doing is also wellness, because I have a lot of clients that are male, and they go on their annual trips on ski vacations or golf, and or hiking. You mentioned hiking. So for guys, it's a different component of wellness. They're just not labeling it per se as wellness, but for us, it's well, that's wellness too. If you're going on a ski vacation and you got the fresh air, the crisp, cold air, and you're skiing and you're being active and so on, that's part of wellness too, and you're doing what you enjoy doing, I mean, how great is that? Or if they're playing golf, I mean, because guys, that love to play golf, that's kind of like, just like we like to go to spas, they like to play golf. So that's so I don't think they label it as wellness for them. So when they hear wellness, to them it's like, oh, my wife is going and getting a massage.
Yeah.
So I guess the men just haven't caught up that what they're doing is wellness too.
Yeah.
We don't have to tell them, no.
We don't have to tell them.
I agree. I agree with Dory that it is a major untapped market. Our survey, as I mentioned, we had over 2,500 people, consumers, and only 10% of the men who of respondents were men. And I think that they will come around. And maybe you're right. They just don't understand the concept of wellness. I think a lot of people still associate wellness travel with strictly the spa, but right now it truly is more about the food, the activity, and being out in nature. Having a spa treatment for stress management is fabulous and just for relaxing, but it's not totally necessary. You can still have a wellness vacation without it.
Yes,
Yeah,
Kieran?
I would agree. I think from a women and solo women, I'm definitely seeing many more. I would say 99.9% of my clients are women who want to go on solo adventures with other women because I think there's just a different flow and they're looking for a community of like-minded people. But in terms of what Dory is saying, and I also have a separate segment in my business, which is called Soul Sister Sojourn, specifically for that region. So I think Dory and I are on the same page as far as addressing that community. But I think as far as men are concerned, I would agree. I think if we just change how we talk to them and the labels that we use and talk more about active lifestyles and taking your active lifestyle on the road, it'll start becoming more appealing and they'll start realizing, as Sophia said, that they are already doing it. We just aren't labeling it as a wellness vacation, right? So I think more and more people just want to take their active lifestyles on the road. And as we approach clients, if we start to tweak our verbiage and what we say, I think it'll open up the market even that much more.
Yep, good point. It's true. Men have to come. I mean, they take the biking tours, right? That's
Yeah,
wellness. I
that's
mean,
wellness.
Absolutely.
you know,
So yeah, active lifestyle, I think, is where
exactly.
we need to start.
Exactly. So, Sophia, this question is for you. Are your are your clients requesting vacations abroad, or are they generally staying in the U.S. when it comes to their wellness vacations?
It is definitely across the board as we have, wonderful wellness retreats in the US. But most of my clientele is really outside of the worldwide, actually. So whether it's Europe, South America, Antarctica, you name it. So it's across the board.
Yeah, I remember you when we first chatted, you showed me that beautiful place in Peru, and that just being out there in nature, that was that in itself, I mean, I guess every
Absolutely.
place can have its wellness offerings, like you mentioned, Kieran, with Japan, and I mentioned with the Korea and the healing forest. There's actually an interesting question from one of our audience members. What is the recommendation for a wellness cruise for a large wellness center group? Who would want to take that question? Sophia, you want to, Kieran? Uh-huh.
Yeah, I can start. So again, it depends on what they consider wellness to be, because cruises are really jumping on board now with the whole wellness movement because they see such a tremendous market for it. So I'm going to jump into your next question ahead, but it's really
Yeah.
more about it's more than just what they used to offer, which is we have a little fitness room, downstairs in the galley that they could use. So I would ask the question of what are they looking for on that wellness cruise? Because so many cruises now offer not only yoga in the morning, they have active shore excursions that you can do, whether it's biking or hiking or water sports, what have you. They also have healthy meals. They have Seabourn has Dr. Andrew Weil. So if they're looking for, lectures on wellness and health, there's a vast array of offerings now between all the different cruise lines, and you've got Blue World Voyages coming on board, which is all completely focused on wellness and fitness. So I'm really excited about that. So I would first ask the question to your group of what is it that you want from a wellness cruise? What are the components they're looking for? Is it the healthy meals? Is it the active excursions? Some of them even have Pilates instructors on boards. River cruising now has, Pilates and TRX instructors. So it's really a question going back to intention.
Did anyone want to add anything? Everybody's good? Yeah.
Yeah, and like I had mentioned before, 5 years ago, all of these options may not be available on one product, but today, because of that demand, we can recommend one product and all those options would be available to them if we know exactly what the client is looking for and match them up with the right product for that specific wellness retreat. And I mean, even river cruises, you know, I mean, back in the day, it used to be, oh, the river cruises, they're so small and, you know, there's nothing going on. Today, they have swimming pools. They always had a gym, but now they have swimming pools. They have instructors, yoga instructors, Pilates instructors. I'm from the land of river cruising as a German from Cologne. And now you have bikes on board that you take, you know, along the Rhine River and biking up the castles, you know, so there is so much availability. There is really no lack of availabilities on the products that we sell.
Yeah, I want to jump in, Paloma, and kind of put a tip out there for people who are trying to get into wellness or wanting to really focus on wellness is you have to know your products. So we're talking about a lot of different components here, a lot of different brands. And I think our value to our clients is that we know the brands and we know the clients. So it's a mapping and the melding of the two. So you have to really work to know your brands and to know your products. So when client comes to you and says, I want A, B, or C, you know how to direct them, because that's really the value that we're providing as the travel advisor.
That is actually a great point, because there's one person that is speaking about the group solo travel, one audience member who wants to know, so she leads mental wellness retreats for people to travel with others, but where are these clients often located in your opinion? She asks, are they shopping in Whole Foods weekly? Are they reading travel blogs? Where do you find these wellness conscious travelers? Who wants to respond? Okay.
I will.
Lori, do you want to start?
Sure. I think you are finding them anywhere they're selling wellness options, yoga studios, gyms. Whole Foods is a good one, you know, Fresh Market, Meetup. Meetup has great ones, bike shops. You know, if you're going to sell a wellness vacation to say an affinity group, so like bikers, let's take bikers for example, they are going to hang out not just at the bike shop, but they're going to hang out at, say, REI or, you know, other places like that that are related to the type of travel that they're very interested in, that also gather people who have like-minded interests. If you're looking for wellness travelers, if you are a wellness practitioner, in other words, you absorb wellness, right? You want to do wellness for yourself or your family or your friends, where do you go? Where do you hang out? What kind of magazines do you read? What kind of social media do you look at? All of those things would drive you towards where other people who want to do wellness hang out.
Kieran?
Yes, I would add to that and say, you know, it also depends, as Dory said, what your interests are. So if you're going after a very specific market, wellness in general, you can offer to any of your clients, because most of them don't know that taking a walking tour is considered wellness outside of just spa. So I think you can start there by just saying, hey, you know, you can walk, you can bike ride. What other things do you want to do on vacation? Again, depending on their lifestyles. If they're sedentary, they're not really going to be coming to you for a wellness vacation or necessarily asking for those components. But I think if you want to go after it, you have to kind of ask yourself, what is it that you like to do? If you're focused on spirituality, if you're focused on, I'm now finding communities locally that are really focused on various health and wellness. So certainly if you like biking, and I would go look for the biking communities, because you have to be part of that community. You just can't be external to that and try to go in and sell something that you aren't doing yourself. So really important to know, what are my, you know, what do I like to do, and start there. So if you enjoy biking, then yes, go find your bike clubs. You know, there's all sorts of affinity groups out there, But for me, if it's more of a spirituality, I'm going to the centers that have the yoga, the wellness, the sort of spiritual, sound healing classes and meditation courses. And then, those people are going to be more inclined to do more of the spiritual and active together, more of a traditional wellness vacation. So again, it really depends on, ask yourself, what is it that you like, and then go after your own market to start. That's a great way to start because you already have the verbiage and the commonality of community there.
Excellent.
And I would like to add, it goes back to knowing your client and matching up to the right product. But I thought of a very, it really was a great idea. I saw where Ama Waterways River Cruises hosted an event at a YMCA in San Diego, and I just happened to see it on a Facebook post of Ama Waterways, and I thought, oh my gosh, because I go to the YMCA in my community, and I'm like, I would have never thought of that, right? But how genius was that? And so if I was to suggest anything, is that, with wellness, it's all about clubs, whatever clubs you can think of, but like Karen mentioned, it's like you have to kind of be part of that community, because if you're just showing up out of nowhere and you want to, sell something to them, you may get some resistance. But if you're already, like I go to the YMCA, and so when I saw that, I'm like, and I'm thinking about my whole team, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we can host something here too. And then, for instance, here's one specific product. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of, is Club Med. I grew up vacationing at Club Med as a child, because in Europe, Club Med is very popular. Well, now they're coming, they have branched into the American market, and they're really worldwide. And so Club Med is very, very specific. Basically, families go there for, they will have like 10 tennis courts, archery, trapeze. So basically, you're teaching your children from a very young age to have a wellness vacation. So you're not basically going to an all-inclusive resort and just hanging around the beach and eating, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and, and buffet all day, but you're actually getting a tennis, learn to play tennis, archery lessons, and trapeze lessons, and so many other wonderful activities that you can do there. And so that would be something, let's say, for the YMCA, for example, or whatever, what membership do you have? Where's your gym? Go talk to them and pick a product and talk to them and say, hey, would you come and host this event with me? And go about it that way. But anything club, so whatever club, bike club, tennis club, you name it, club has, you can definitely have an easy sell on wellness. Because
yeah,
they're
I would
already
add to
active, right? They're already active people. So
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Kieran,
yeah,
did you say?
and I would, sorry, I would add to that and say, be wary of going into big health clubs. Like locally, we have a club sport. They are very resistant to anyone coming in, and I'm a member, and they wouldn't even let me present. So I think definitely having a relationship, and the way I position it was really to say, wellness resorts are summer camp for adults, because it's exactly what Sophia's saying. If you go to the wellness resorts of today, it's not about, being in a forest meditating. It's really about being active and having choices of what you're going to do with your time, and how you're going to spend that time, and having an array of options. Most of the wellness resorts are all inclusive, but they're all inclusive with healthy meal options and fitness options for everyone to try. The challenge being that not everyone has children on board. So I will say there are age limitations for where children can go, but there's lots of creative ways to get them started.
Excellent points. Anne, did you have anything to add?
I'd say good points, absolutely good points by all. I think if any agent is looking, any agent advisor is looking to get into the sector, they really have to walk the talk as well,
Yeah.
and really know what it's all about, and to be really well versed on product that is out there, and they can speak firsthand about it to their clients.
So you guys have spoken about the cruise lines and the hotels. Are there any specific things besides the obvious that hotels are doing to up the ante? I mean, Club Med is a very specific example because they do, you know, the circus and all that, the trapeze. But have you seen, not specific brands, but in general, what hotels are doing to up the ante when it comes to their wellness offerings? Who wants to respond? Karen, you want?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I can, yeah, absolutely. Let's take, for instance, the Four Seasons in Hawaii. Four Seasons Lanai is actually they're opening up a property there, all-inclusive wellness property. So it's an all-inclusive wellness property. So very, very specific. The Four Seasons Lanai in Hawaii. And, you know, we don't have all-inclusive properties in the United States. The only all-inclusive property so far has been Club Med in Sandpiper, Florida. And now we're seeing the Four Seasons opening, and of course, a whole different category, right? When we talk the Four Seasons and it's all-inclusive wellness. And we're talking all-inclusive wellness treatments, the whole 9 yards, your meals and so on. So it's all matching up. And like Corinne was saying, you know, with when you go so specific, every aspect matches up, right? So spiritually, mentally, you know, health, your meal plans, and so on. So you're not, how do you say, sabotaging, right? You're not doing activities in the morning or getting a, you know, exercise class or yoga or Pilates and then running to the buffet and loading up on carbs or something. So it's all matched up. But I thought that was very specific with the Four Seasons hotel in Lanai, and that's wow. I mean, when I heard that, I was like, that is amazing.
yeah, that's a nice recommendation. And Kieran, sorry, you want to say something? And then I'll
Yeah,
get
so
to you, Dory.
I think hotels in general are really upping their game when it comes to wellness. And like I said, it used to be spa, but now you can actually get fitness, not only fitness equipment, but things that you would need to work out, whether it's shoes or workout gear. I know Fairmont was offering that, but I was at a Westin recently for a graduation, and I was surprised that they had a sticker in the bathroom that said, you know, get your fitness gear for $5 a day. And I thought, who wouldn't do that? Instead of lugging, you know, your big clunky tennis shoes and your workout gear, to go to a hotel now where you can actually rent your shoes and your gear. I think Golden Door does a fantastic job of that, because you literally show up and you don't need anything. They provide you with the shorts, the outfit, the outside of running shoes, and for women's sports bras, everything else is including your toiletries. So talk about all-inclusive wellness. That's a fantastic resort. Also, I think they are doing more from the aspect of sleep, because so many of us are struggling with sleep, and sleeping an issue in wellness. That resorts, Six Senses specifically, does a lot. They actually have different pillars of wellness that they address, with sleep and nutrition and activity and many others. But in general, your standard hotels are now having specific wellness rooms that you can request, that even have a Peloton in there, or they have specific sleep amenities in there for sleeps and pillows and all sorts of things that hotels are really offering to the client. So you just have to ask what it is that specific hotel would have that would benefit a client. It could be even talking to the concierge, if the client is a runner, what are the running routes around the hotel? What could we do to help this client continue to live their active lifestyle on the road? So there's a lot being done, I think.
Yeah, that's great. Dory, did you want to add something?
Well, I was just going to say that a lot of hotels are doing things that maybe the client doesn't see, but it's happening. Like they're starting to filter their air. So the air inside the hotel rooms are clean. They're changing the soap products they use. They're changing the bedding types they use. They're doing all kinds of small things to help with the idea that they want you to be well while you're staying in their hotel. And it's a really nice sell to a wellness client, to a particular hotel that's really paying attention to even the smallest details of making sure that you feel well, that you wake up refreshed. The sleep thing that Karen talked about is huge. I mean, obviously in a hotel you want to sleep well, right? And I think they're doing a great job of slowly letting wellness sort of infiltrate how they do business. And there's some hotel chains that do that better than others. And again, it's, know your product so that you can sell that to the client that really cares about that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. So I am now I've asked a couple of questions from the audience, but I'm gonna start heading into many more of those. So are you seeing popularity in group tours with a Pied Piper such as a yoga instructor? Anne, do you wanna respond to that as the head of the WTA?
Um, well, I don't particularly deal with clients, but
Yeah,
as
but
media, I've been a journalist for over 20 years. I do get a lot of releases, and I'm sure you do as well, about new programs, new retreats being headed up by influencers, wellness influencers, such as yoga instructors, authors, Pilates instructors, even those who are specialists in meditation. And I think that's a big disruptor in the industry for those for the properties that used to be called destination spas that are now called wellness retreats. I think that that has been a disruptor in the industry because those influencers can take their groups wherever they want. So in answer to your question, in one word, yes, that is happening a lot more now.
And Karen?
Yeah, I think if you want to go after that market, again, you have to be very cautious, because make sure that your yoga instructor or your Pilates instructor or whomever that you are trying to, if you were trying to create that retreat and have them be the Pied Piper, make sure they have a large following, because it's going to be very difficult to fill a retreat. And not only that, think about how does that influencer want to be compensated? Are they looking for a free stay? Are they looking for a free trip? What are they going to do? Because you need to build that into your costs. So you want to make sure you're profitable in these, which is difficult sometimes. So just be wary of the following and make sure they have enough of a following to be able to support putting a trip together for them.
I just want to say that's excellent advice. Even though a lot of people are doing this, it doesn't mean that they're successful doing it. They're just doing it. So there's been no report, no follow-up, and how many of them can actually make it happen. So your advice is excellent.
Yeah. Dory, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I did. I actually follow that process a bit. So I do group trips where I have a group leader, and it's absolutely vital that you have a very straightforward discussion with whatever group leader you select or decide to work with or whatever, about how the business part of what you're doing is going to work. Because if they feel like they're bringing you the idea that they want to do a retreat and then you're going to do the rest, this is a recipe for disaster. Okay, it has to be someone who understands that they are bringing the people and you are supplying the venue, right? You're those people to go, but you are not driving their business. Does that make sense? It's like I had a jazzercise, who does jazzercise still? But yes, jazzercise. She called me. She says, I have 18 people that want to go to Red Mountain Resort. Can I do that? I'm like, why, yes, you can. And she's a perfect Pied Piper. But then I have other people who would be really interested in doing this kind of thing, but they simply can't get the people to engage. So it really matters that they understand that that's their part of the job in order to make that type of travel lucrative for your business.
Yeah, and
So,
I would add to that is one more thing
sorry.
to add to that is look at the price point that you're going to end up selling this trip to the clients, and are their clients going to be able to support that price point? Because what I find
Yes.
is once you take the resort cost and then you add on the Pied Piper wanting to have their cost paid for, and then potentially wanting to get paid to lead the class there. So not only do they want to be paid for their services, but they also want to have the free trip. If the price point becomes, it's unattainable for their clients that they're trying to bring on board. So really managing the business processes on the back end to say, is this a viable business venture for me from a travel advisor standpoint is really important, because everything looks really shiny and beautiful out there when you try to look at, oh, I want to go do this. Yeah, of course I'll run this retreat for you. But keeping in mind, can they fill it? And what is that price point? Definitely ask the question of your group leader, your Pied Piper, of what is the price point that your clients that you are bringing, as Dory said, that they are willing to support and stay within that.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing up that point. So we just have a few minutes left, so I want to jump into as many more questions as we can. So if we can get real short questions, I mean, you guys are offering amazing advice. But so another question is, how can we check that the resort has a health food option? Who would like to respond? Do you go to the website? How do you guys find out about the health food options? Dory?
Well, it basically, I have resorts and hotels and destinations that I know that I have used before. And I just did the research and the training with those suppliers to find out how flexible they are with the food options. And then if I get a client that's very focused on what type of food they're putting in their body, I know exactly where I'm going to send them. So again, it's doing your homework up front. Don't wait for somebody to ask you and then have to go research. Like, find out up front where these different places are, and then you can plug people in as they ask you. That's my best advice.
Anne?
One good place to start is actually give a plug for the Wellness Tourism Association, because if you go to the website, wellnesstourismassociation.org, and click on directory, then hit on suppliers, all those suppliers had to meet the criteria that they do offer healthy food options and cater to the various dietary restrictions that clients now have. So that's a good starting point.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay, so the next question is, what are a few wellness destinations in the U.S. that you would recommend for a long weekend that includes the beach? Who wants to respond to that? Do you want to respond, Karen?
Well, it's a question I get all the time. And I think
Yeah.
when people think wellness, they think wellness by water, but then they want to be close to home. So depending on what side of the country home is, it could be increasingly difficult to find that, by the water. I've been challenged. So I would say, the ones my go-to are generally Body Holiday, which is more conducive to East Coast clients than it is to West Coast
Yeah.
because of the travel time. Most of the on water, other than Lake Austin, which is obviously on a lake and it's it's more central to the US. But other than that, most of them, and then there's Carillon, Miami, which is also on the water in Miami. Other than that, I'm challenged. I would love to, Anne, throw that back to you and say, how do we?
Well,
How do
actually,
we?
I was actually going to mention those three as well. That's a difficult one.
It's a tough one.
Excellent. And then,
The Miraval in Austin is on lake is on a lake, and it is quite beautiful. It's not a beach, but it is water.
and yeah, that's true. It's beautiful. Okay, so this is more an observation when you guys were saying, well, what words can we use for the men versus the women? And someone said guys like active travel. It's still wellness, but they don't like that wellness word. So active travel, maybe, Is there a list of places that, maybe Anne, you can respond, a list of places that are economical for families. Is there something on you have the member directory, so they could start from there, right? On the wellness.
Yes, we do. We don't classify them as best for families or best for men. We just have a list of suppliers. So, I mean, again, that's a starting point, but there's a description with each of them that might just open up the door and give each individual advisor just a little bit more information on that. And we are working, and Dory and Kieran have been very involved in this, in doing some questionnaires with all our suppliers to make it easier for agents to find the right fit for their clients. And that should be coming out hopefully by the end of the year.
There's an interesting question, and this just is for travel in general. There are so many suppliers out there. How do you find the ones that help you create relationships with, or the ones that you want to create relations? Is there a limit to how many products to know? This is a good one to end the thing. Sophia, I think we can go with you, and then we got to wrap it up.
Yeah, I don't think there is a limit on products to know, because the requests, you will have a different request every time you talk to a client. And as I mentioned prior, every client is unique and every travel request is unique. So yes, not each product applies to the same, to all clients. So yeah, definitely you want to know as much as you can, but it can be very overwhelming in the beginning, or if you're new to the industry. My way of learning the products was always, I would focus on one product at a time, and then I build up. So as soon as I knew one product, I move on to the next. And so you can build up your portfolio that way, but you can't know them all at once. And so going back to building relationships, or relationships with the suppliers, even with, we're talking about these suggestions regarding the health clubs and connecting to your community and so on. It's all about relationships. And if you build relationships with your client, you build relationships with the suppliers, and you build relationship with the community, you're only set up for success. So focus on building relationships with anyone that comes your way.
Excellent. And so one last question, and this is to you, Anne, and it's a very simple one. If you could please say the website for the Wellness Tourism Association again, because a lot of people are asking.
That's easy. It's the Wellness Tourism Association.org. O-R-G. There's the glossary there, the membership directory, and there's also an inspiration section that you can actually use those articles to pass on to your clients.
Yeah, it's an excellent site where I'm on there a lot when I'm doing the wellness articles. Excellent. And so it's a wrap, and I'm going to announce the winner of the $100 gift card, and it is Andre Levitt, and the last name is spelled Leavitt. And so it's Andre Levitt. You're the winner of the $100 gift card. We will be sending, for the audience, we will be sending a lot of the questions that we weren't able to respond to, and there's a lot, to the panelists, and they'll take some time to answer a few, and we'll be able to get them over to the audience that was participating on the webinar. And thank you all for attending the webinar, and thank you, Anne, Sophia, Karen, and Dory, for providing your expertise on wellness travel. Thank you very much. It was greatly appreciated, and have a lovely rest of the afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.